Welcome to my channel. In this lesson, we are going to study about the characteristics of living organisms. That is, how to identify living organisms differentiated from the non-living objects in the surrounding. When we study biology, that is, the term biology means the study of living organisms. So there should be a way to identify living organisms from the non-living. So how do you do this? How do we identify these organisms? For that we use a set of characteristics. So using these characteristics we can identify what are living and what are non-living. So we'll see what are these characteristics. As the first one, we can take they require nutrition. All living organisms need nutrition, that is, they need nutrients in for the body functions. If we take plants, they have their own way of getting nutrition. They make their own food. They fix carbon dioxide using solar energy. That process is called photosynthesis. In this process, they make their own food. But what about animals? These animals directly or indirectly depend on the green plants. So somehow they require nutrition. They have their own methods to fulfill that nutrition requirement. The next characteristic, we can take respiration. All organisms do respire. Normally we know that living organisms, they intake oxygen and release carbon dioxide. That is the simple respiration. So they do respiration. Then the next one is excretion. They have a mechanism for excretion. Organisms eat or get things into the body, and then there are reactions, and as a result of that many waste materials are produced. So there should be a way to remove these unwanted waste materials. That process is called excretion. Normally some excretory products that we know are ammonia, urea, like that. So there is a way to remove these things as excretory products. This is called excretion. This also is a characteristic common to all the living organisms. Then the next characteristic is they respond to stimuli. That is, they respond to the changes happening in the environment. The stimuli means the changes in the environment. If we simply get humans, we do cry, we laugh, we fight. All these are response to the changes that happen in our environment. So these organisms respond to stimuli, respond to the changes in the surrounding environment. Then the next one is they move. Movement. These movement means they can change their location from one place to another. This actually means these movements happen without any external aid. They don't need any external force to move. If we take objects, other non-living objects, they also can move. They also can change their location, but all those objects need an external support for that location change. But living organisms, they change their location without any external support. That is called movement. So they move. Then the next feature is that these organisms can control their internal conditions. For example, they can control their body temperature, and also they can control the water amount in our body. There are mechanisms to control them, so they maintain their internal conditions, so there is a controlling mechanism. Then the next one, they reproduce. The reproduction, that is, they make a new generation to maintain their species. That is another characteristic of living organism. So they can their species can be maintained by this reproduction. Then the next one, the last one, is the growth and development. Here the growth means they increase their size. So actually the dry mass, the increase of dry mass should be irreversible. They have to increase. They should not come back to its previous size. If we take some non-living objects, they also can sometimes we can see a growth in them as well. Like for example, some objects, when they absorb water, they expand in size. That is also a growth, but it's reversible. It can come back to the previous position. That is not actually a growth. So in biology, the growth and development means the increase in their size, actually the dry mass, but there is an irreversible increase of the size. So these living organisms can grow and develop. So these are the characteristics that we can use to identify living and non-living organisms. So now you should be able to separate any object or anything, whether it's living or non-living, using these characteristics. But there are some cases, like for example the crystals also grow, but in biology we don't accept crystals as living. They also grow, they also increase in their size, but that is also irreversible. But in that case, crystals show only that feature. They don't have all the other characteristics we discussed here. So just as a living organism, these characteristics should be present. So I think we discussed the characteristics, and now we can identify living organisms. So if you have any questions, please leave a comment below. I will try to answer all of them, and we'll meet again with another new lesson. Until that, stay safe. Thank you.